This prophet served under the Coptic royal family as a subletter after 1989 and under the leadership of the Dr. Emperor John the Revelator in Chicago, Illinois, Englewood area.
Something real that's not real. There are real fears in the world. It's like your child getting close to a fire. That's a real concern. Baby, don't touch the fire because you won't get burnt. You know that's real. There's a fear of your child running out in the street and being hit by a car. That's a genuine fear and concern. The fear of eating food that can cause sickness, that's a genuine concern. You can monetize that. You can see that. You can know that those things can be controlled if you can monitor. But the things that are not real that we're fearful of are the things that oftentimes hinder us as a people. Sometimes we defeat ourselves before we get started. There's a fear among our young men. This is not a new fear. I was telling someone the other day that we've always had challenges in this North America. Today it is police violence. It's young men killing each other. And we look and say, oh my God, this is horrific. This is terrifying. But I want you to know, if you are a student of history, there was a time when our grandmothers and great-grandparents had the fear of our young men or our great uncles and great fathers going to school and may not come home. Being out before, that concept, be home before the street lights, how we grew up on that? And y'all said, my mama taught me to be home before the street lights. Do you know where that actually came from? That came from because there was a time when you were a black in this country, if you was caught when the sun go down, you could not come, you most likely would not come home if you ran across the wrong group. They saw strange fruit on the vine all the time. And so if you go back to the era of lynchings, there was thousands upon lynchings in America. That was a real, genuine fear that our parents had. Now we have the fear when our children go home or go out. We throw a prayer and say, oh God, bring my child home. So these things are genuine. These things we ask God to help us through. Our young daughters, we pray for them when they go out. They come back safely home. But I'm talking about the fear that we are not justified in being fearful about. David said like this, the I am is my light and my salvation. Whom, what shall I fear? The I am is my strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Now, this is talking from a king perspective. This is talking from a queen's perspective. If you are a king, you have to understand that your kingdom could be under attack at any time. You could be called into battle any time. And if you're not willing to go into battle, your kingdom may be taken over. But if the enemy rise, whom should you be afraid of? Racism in America is nothing new to us. We don't fear it. We're surely not scared of it. And we surely ain't running from it. But we will stand because we are the people of God. And we stand because we are not afraid of no one. I'm not even afraid of my brother who hangs on the corner. Look like he got nowhere to go, nothing to do, and don't have no clue on what life is all about. Because one thing about life I know, God has given all of us a time. That is in his hand. So I don't know the time, nor the hour, or the date, the situation, the circumstance in which God will say, come on home. But while I yet live, I can't walk in fear. Some of us are afraid of change. Some of us are afraid of prosperity. Do you know many people are afraid to prosper? You say, well, preach, everybody want to be rich. No. Everybody like the ideal of being rich. Everybody like the concept. But everybody's not willing to do what it takes because the fear of rejection, denial, or challenges, or I may not be good enough, or I may not be able to accomplish it, overwhelms them more so than the ability that they can do it. So we understand that whom shall we fear? I'm not afraid of no tests. I wish I had somebody. Princess and you all young people going back to school, young men are going to school, you're going to a new world. Some is going to college for the first time. You may have apprehensions about what it's like to go on the college dorm, and you know, it's just like when you went to high school, you was a freshman, so you had to adjust to being that new freshman. Now you're going to college, and you're going to be a freshie all over again. So you pretty much, you know, don't know much other than this is a new experience. But as you enter into those classrooms and you're standing before those professors, and the workload is going to be heavy, the challenge is going to be difficult sometimes. Be not afraid to take on the challenge. One of our points is what? Challenge. Be not afraid to ask the question. Be not afraid to say, I don't understand that. Be not afraid to ask the question, can you explain that to me again? Be not afraid to be the one that had to sit in front of the class instead of in the back of the class. See, there's a key to success. Sit in front of the class. If you have a difficult time learning, don't go to the back of the class. Find yourself always in the front of the class. Look at the professor's mouth as he walks. Be not afraid to admit you don't know. But these fears, because what happens is we start to think what somebody else is thinking. And when we think what other people are thinking, then we oftentimes think wrong. Because you don't know what the next person is thinking. You're trying to figure out what's going through that person's mind before they even think. And half the time they don't even think it. And what we think is, they may think I'm not smart. Well, let me bless you about knowledge. You can stay in the library from now until you're 60, and you still won't know everything. So there's always something you don't know. That's not the challenge. To admit something you don't know is the step to wisdom. It's okay to say I don't know. The worst thing is to not know and then act like you know and be ashamed that you don't know and end up messing up with what you think you know. Be not afraid. Be not afraid of the economy. Somehow people think poverty is on your heels. Some of us come out of a generational cycle, and God blesses you. You may be in your first home. Mother didn't have a home. You may have 2 or 3 cars. You probably grew up where your parents had you on the bus all the time. You may have a job that pays more than your mother and your father. And in the back of some of our minds, we have a fear that one day it's going to be taken away. The fear of losing. The fear of loss. But today, as we the people of God, that's not our mandate. We understand when fear comes in, faith is not in the building. You can't be in 2 places at the same time. Now, we do it by, I guess we do it now by, well, we can see your image, but you can't be there personally. We can see your image through FaceTime, but you're still where you're at. But you got to understand that fear